Right now, there are so many people wanting to hear about digital events. This is brilliant. I promise you, it hasn't always been like this. Online or digital events have been seen as the poor cousin of the physical event. Even as the world moved online, the events industry stuck to its guns and stayed offline. Digital events, the distant outcast, fell even further to the sidelines with the drive to experiential live events and festivalisation. But it's back, and I couldn't be happier. And that's not because my job is to help organisations take their events digital, but because online events have so much to offer. It's just a shame, of course, that we've been pushed by what we cannot do in the physical world to contemplate this pivot to digital, instead of being pulled by the wonderful things that online events can do. And trust me, online is no poor substitute for a physical event. It can be, if run the right way, a standalone, brilliant digital product in its own right. Now, when you're pivoting to digital, don't feel like you're dealing with a lesser soul. Embrace what this format has to offer. Digital events are fantastic. And I'm going to concentrate on one of the things that online events can do, and that is to be used as a way to generate revenue. Now, I know many people are very sceptical about online events and their ability to generate revenue, but I want to encourage you to do one thing. Don't believe what they say, believe in what you can do. For businesses and individuals all over the globe, digital events are already generating revenue, and it makes money for the same reason your physical event does. Online events generate what people crave: great content and great connections. Now, these are the two things that you monetize at your physical event, and I encourage you to do the same with your digital events. There are a few other things I would encourage you to do after watching this session. The first is to jump onto some other YouTube channels and have a look at how people are monetizing digital content. On this platform, you will find hundreds of thousands of people making a huge amount of money from digital content. These are the people event organisers must learn from. Our digital events have such great potential, but to realise that potential, we event organisers have to embrace digital, and we have to change our skill set. We have to see ourselves as broadcasters and editors. So learn from those mastering digital content on YouTube. I hope to deliver an upbeat and positive session despite the horrors that the coronavirus is having across the globe. To do that, I'm going to pull some great examples from the organisations that Gallus Events team have been helping pivot to digital. Now, for some organisations, that help has been advising them to take the right strategic choices when jumping online. For others, it's been the most practical of support. For example, advising them on how to structure an online programme, how to brief speakers, what platforms to use, and how to use those platforms to make sure they have content suitable for digital delivery. So the second thing I would encourage you to do is to ask for support from those who have pivoted already. And if you're in need of some additional support, please do get in touch with me after you've watched this session. We have loads of really useful information on jumping to online on the Gallus Events website and on this channel. So let's get stuck into this case study session, but from a perspective that says online events rock. Both of these case studies look at online events that generate revenue from a traditional pricing per event approach. Now, this is the easiest step for many event organisers to take, and it's especially useful if you have a paid for event that now has to go digital. Now, there are many other ways to monetize the content and connections you generate at your event, and I'll look at these on other videos. So we're going to look at replacing the type of revenue you would have been earning from your physical event. Well, we all know that online events can drive traffic, reinforce your brand, and place you in a position as a thought leader. But I want to persuade and reassure you that they can earn revenue too. Before I go through these case studies spanning 12 years that form part of my personal journey in the world of online events, I want to start by listing the 5 reasons why I have been banging on about online events for years. We have the push to digital given by the coronavirus, so what are the pull factors? In other words, why weren't you running online events when they could do all these amazing things? Firstly, online events are sustainable and much more environmentally friendly than physical events. Now, this in itself should be a strong drive to digital. The coronavirus is the first drops of change that will be swiftly followed by a downfall brought by the climate crisis. You can't keep growing your physical events. Our industry can't just keep growing physical events, and online can be an answer. Now, online is not a sustainable silver bullet, but it does make a difference. At your online event, your attendees do not need to travel to your event. Attendees shop and spend locally. You do not need badges, delegate packs, and all the paraphernalia that comes with physical events. Food waste is drastically reduced, and all other forms of waste that physical events generate disappear almost overnight. Now, another main reason why online events rock is that you have the potential to increase your audience way beyond the biggest venue that you could find. You really have an almost unlimited potential audience. Now, physical events will always be limited by the space that you've booked. And thirdly, when you have online attendees, you do not have to pay for their heating or their eating. Now, online events have much lower costs per attendee and, as importantly, are much less risky. And next, technology has developed to fully support online events, and it's easily scalable. So you can seamlessly move between an online event for 50 and one for 500, and you can replicate the majority of the parts of your physical event online. And finally, digital marketing channels are now fully developed to support your online events. A large part of your marketing spend will already be online, so it's much easier to push those already seeing your marketing online to attend your event. So let's pause to consider the huge benefits of pivoting to digital. And if you take away one thing from this session, it's to have a shift in mindset, to look at digital with a newfound belief. And I think these two case studies will help you do that. Okay, my first case study is for a membership organisation, and this covers my own pivot to digital. It was an event run for Europe's largest membership organisation, the Institute of Chartered Accountants in England and Wales, in 2007. It's 13 years ago, and the UK government are about to change the Companies Act, which are the rules that regulate how every limited company is structured. Now, I was working at the Institute at the time, and these changes were the largest and most important piece of regulation for accountants in a generation. Now, as the guy in charge of the events department, I decided to cover the act with a series of regional events. Such was the demand that they were all selling out, so we added an extra day in London, and then that sold out. So I suggested we live stream, although it probably wasn't called live streamed at the time, the second event from London. At this stage, I had never live streamed, or whatever it was called, an event, didn't really know how it was done. But I couldn't see how we could get the number of people who were interested into the venue that we'd booked. So this seemed like the best solution. At this point, I was definitely pushed to online rather than pulled online. Maybe it's a bit like you at the moment. And my boss was not sure at all about going digital. Offering it for free will put people off attending the physical event, she said. But I'm not planning to offer it for free. It will be the same price as the physical event. It will be the same price as the physical event. Then it all kicked off. The same price? You can't charge the same price for an online event as a physical event. No one will book at that price. I disagreed. And I disagreed because I had faith in the content. We had great content that attendees needed to know. Why wouldn't people pay for it? So on price we had issues, and then we looked at the technology we would have to use. Remember, this was 2007. It was terrible. It was almost back in the analogue age. So we had an organisation that didn't trust or rate the platform for online delivery, and a big issue with charging for the event. Now, does that sound familiar to you as you're watching this online? Well, technology gets better, but people's fears remain the same. And as events organisers pivoting to digital, you are going to face this challenge time and time again. So what happened back in 2007? Well, over 125 people paid £75 to watch the online event. None of them complained about the content or the delivery, and that left us with a 5-figure profit. So I pivoted to digital back in 2007, and I ran an online event that made a 5-figure profit. And at Gallus Events, we have been helping organisations do the same since 2010. Now here's my second case study from Practically Perfect PA, Europe's largest online resource for personal assistants. In 2009, Practically Perfect PA live streamed from one physical event and ran 4 totally virtual summits. The virtual summits had pre-recorded content and they were hosted live for an online audience. Now, each virtual summit generated around £10,000 income. The live streamed part of the physical event generated around £20,000 income. And here are things that both organisations and my two examples had in common. Now, I believe many organisations are able to run digital events that generate revenue, and I've been helping other organisations to do that for almost 10 years. But I chose these two case studies to show one thing, and that is the consistency in people willing to pay to watch great content. It was true in 2007, in 2019, and it will be true in 2021. Now, although these two cases look quite different, they offer some of the key aspects of making online events pay for your organisation. Now, many good event businesses should have the same potential. So what are they? Well, both of these organisations already had a reputation for delivering great tailored content to their audience. And secondly, they were able to get these digital products out to a wide audience. So they both had access to a market backed up with a reputation for great content, and this put both organisations in a very strong position. The third thing that both of these organisations did was realise that online events are different from physical events. Sure, the basics are the same, but there are many subtle differences. The fourth thing was that they both engaged experts in the online digital world. When I started my journey in 2007, I found support that I couldn't find online or in my team. And in 2017, Practically Perfect PA engaged us at Gallus Events. Now, both organisations realised that online was going to be a major area for them in the future, and they invested in the right support. Now, I believe we've only scratched the surface of potential revenue for digital content for Practically Perfect PA. So if you're going to jump online and you don't have some or all of these key factors, then I would pause and make sure that your pivot to digital is the right thing for you to do. Now, there are options on how you want to pivot. Now, one word of caution, and this may be uncomfortable for some of you, I believe the days of an events company being able to bring in a few speakers and pay them on any topic and run a successful event are over. Organisations are going to need a lot of credibility and a deep understanding of how to deliver digital content. Only the organisations who really understand digital will be able to earn significant revenue from pivoting to digital. But as I said, this is upbeat, and as I look across the events industry, I see untapped content everywhere. So you can pivot to digital, but pause. Slow down to make sure you make the right strategic decisions, and then speed up. So slow down and then speed up? Yes, exactly. If you're going to pivot to digital now, you're likely to be years behind your direct competitors, but it's never too late. And there is no time like the present. Pause, ponder, then pivot. I hope I've persuaded you that pivoting to online events can revolutionise your events business and maybe save the planet too. Please do get in touch directly if you would like some specific support on pivoting to digital, and see you online.